All right, this is 4th grade, Module 6, Lesson 14, and in this lesson we're going to be continuing to add our decimals, but this time we're going to be doing it in the context of measurement, liters, kilometers, etc., kilograms, and they're all going to be in the context also of word problems, and really it's just more opportunity to practice the concept of adding decimals, particularly when we convert them into fractions in order to develop that deep number sense. So let's get started.
So I'm going to mostly focus on showing how I would model the problem using tape diagrams, and then leave it up to you to solve the actual numbers, the problem. So the snowfall in year 1 was 2.03 meters, so 2 3/100 meters, and the snowfall in year 2 was 1.6 meters, or 1 6/10 meters. How many total meters of snow fell in years 1 and 2? So what I might do is I might do this as a separate 2-bar model. And the idea is I'm going to say, well, I can see right off the bat that these two, I could see that this one is larger than this one. So I could, if I wanted to, well, no, I'm going to stick with my rule. Whenever I have two subjects, I always start with two tape diagrams that are the exact same length. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to read the question. And it says the snowfall in year 1 was 2.03. The snowfall in year 2 was 1.6. Now, which one's bigger? Well, we know that 2.03 is supposed to be bigger, so I'm going to extend this a little bit. And I know that this is 2.03. And then I'm going to read, and it says the snowfall in year 2, right here, was 1.6. So there's our 1.6. And then the question is, how many total meters of snow fell in years 1 and 2? So that's going to be this right here. So what are we going to do? We're going to add 2.03 plus 1.6. And that's where we're going to convert this, well, into a fraction, this into a fraction, get our common denominators, and run with it. Now here, a deli sliced 22.6 kilograms of roast beef 1 week, and 13.54 kilograms the next week. How many total kilograms of roast beef did they slice in the 2 weeks? So you've got week 1, you've got week 2, and I'm going to make both tapes the exact same length. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to read the question again. It says they sliced 22.6 in week 1. 13.54 in week 2, and so I know that week 1 is supposed to be longer, a longer tape than week 2, and so let's just do that. Let's extend it a little bit. It doesn't matter exactly how much we extend it, and that is our 22.6, and then we know that this is our 13.54, and then the question is how many total kilograms? So there's the key. How many total kilograms did they do in the 2 weeks? So that's this thing, the total amount. So what are we going to do? We're going to add 22.6 plus 13.54. Now here's a tricky one. To be honest, it took me a couple of times to read this to get it. So it says the school cafeteria served 125.6 liters of milk on Monday. That's a lot of milk. And 5.34 more liters of milk on Tuesday than on Monday. That's the key phrase right there. How many total liters of milk were served on both Monday and Tuesday? So our two characters, Monday and Tuesday, and I'm going to make those two tape diagrams exactly the same length. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to read the question. It says the school cafeteria served 125.6 liters of milk on Monday and more milk on Tuesday. So the idea is Monday is right here, and that's 125.6 liters. Now Tuesday, it says they did those 125 5.6 liters, but plus they did an extra 5.34 liters because it says they did 5.34 more liters of milk on Tuesday than on Monday. So they're tied, and then Tuesday did 5.34 more liters. And then the question is, how much did they do all together? So that's the big question. Couple of ways we could do it. We could add Tuesday together first, and first add 125.6 plus 5.34, get that answer, and then add it to another 125.6. Another way we could think of it is one big long problem, 125.6, that's Monday, plus, and then we can put in parentheses 125.6 plus 5.34 on Tuesday. So a couple of ways you could think of it as a two-step problem. First, add these two numbers together to get Tuesday, and then add that to get Monday. Or you could think of it as a one-step, but secretly it's the same thing, as one big old huge equation. So here we've got Max, Maria, and Armin, and they are in a relay race. They're a team. And Max ran his part in 17.3 seconds. Maria was 0.7 seconds slower than Max, and Armin was 1.5 seconds slower than Maria. And then the question is, what's the total time for our team? So this time we have three characters. We have Max, we have Maria, and we have Armin. And again, I'm going to make all three of their tape diagrams the exact same length, the best I can. 1, 2, 3. So they have the exact same tape diagrams. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to read the question again. Okay, it says, okay, they're on a relay race team. So that first question doesn't really help much. I mean, that first sentence doesn't add much to it. Then it says, Max ran his part in 17.3 seconds. So this length right here is 17.3. And then it says Maria was 0.7 seconds slower than Max. So what does that mean? Well, that means Maria's portion, we have to chop off. No, slower. So that doesn't mean we're going to chop off. That means we need to add on an extra 0.7 seconds. Because Max was this length, Maria took a little bit longer. And then Armin was 1.5 seconds slower than Maria. So Armin, he has to add not only the 0.7, but he also has to add an additional 1.5 seconds. So now the question is, what is the total time? So the idea is, what is the entire total time? So what are we going to do? Well, we know that we have this piece is 1.73. That means this piece right here is also 17.3. And this piece is also 17.3. So if we need to know the total time, that means we're going to have to find some way, and parents and teachers, I'm going to leave it up to you, but for our students to add 17.3 plus another 17.3 plus another 17.3, that takes care of all of these, plus a 0.7 plus another 0.7, that takes care of these, plus a 1.5, and that takes care of this guy right here. So we have to add up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 decimals in order to get our total time. And that wraps up a fun one. It was focusing on word problems, which means we needed to draw a bunch of tape diagrams in order for us to practice adding our decimals in decimal form. So that's 4th grade, Module 6, Lesson 14.